and we were just talking to him about like the entrepreneurship journey and like entrepreneurship and what he's been up to. And the thing that was really fascinating in this conversation was he actually made all of his money that then led to him building a real estate empire, and then, you know, the restaurants and all the other things he does. But where he got that initial source of money, the initial few $1,000,000 to then put that money into everything else, was actually in plumbing. Yeah, we should probably, you know, what would be probably a good story for you guys is in terms of like crafting for clients. We were down in El Dorado Hills filming these, like a bunch of footage, and Ippei, myself, and then Alec and Taylor, we're huge fans of this sushi restaurant named Sky Sushi. And so we're sitting there, and the owner shows up, and we start drinking sake. And this guy bought the restaurant from the previous owner who basically just couldn't afford to keep the bills, couldn't keep the lights on at the place. And so he's super rich, and you know, has like multiple Ferrari collections, multiple houses, multiple businesses. And we were just talking to him about like the entrepreneurship journey and like entrepreneurship and what he's been up to. And the thing that was really fascinating in this conversation was he actually made all of his money that then led to him building a real estate empire, and then, you know, the restaurants and all the other things he does. But where he got that initial source of money, the initial few $1,000,000 to then put that money into everything else, was actually in plumbing. He's a plumber by trade. This guy's from Israel as a plumber. And, you know, it kind of makes, and he still owns that business. He's just not active in it. But it makes you think, you know, just from having conversations with people, like there's your guy who started out as just a local plumber. Like that would have been your best client of all time, right? That's a guy who could pay you 10K, 20K a month to do all of his lead generation for him. So just kind of is a good lesson of like, just strike up conversations with people, even if your objective is not to close a deal, because we weren't there to try to get, you know, any clients. We were just fascinated. But it kind of was, it was really obvious that, oh, this, like, there's a lead right there, right? And so I think that's really good for everyone. Like every conversation you have as a self-employed person, as a lead generator, is a conversation that could lead to business. Whether it does or not is irrelevant, but you should be talking to people, networking with people, just because you are fascinated. When you see someone drive a nice car, you should ask them like, hey, I'm seeing your car. It's super nice. Like, what do you do for a living? And you'd be surprised. People who are successful actually everyone loves talking about themselves, but especially successful people, right? It's like that, there's this quote which says, everyone is self-made, but only the successful will admit it. And to me, that was like a really good kind of reminder of that. So that's my little rant. Yeah.
You know, one of the videos we shot was, one of the questions they asked us was, and I'll start with you, Shiv, is like they would ask us, you know, what is an entrepreneurship? What is an entrepreneurship to you? How did you answer that question?
Yep. I solved it as an entrepreneur, like solves problems, right? And so obviously the greatest entrepreneurs in the world have found really massive problems and solved those problems. And so that was my answer. And I believe like you're paid in proportion to the size of problems in the marketplace that you're able to conquer and tackle.
Yeah, that's kind of how I answered it too. But just over the last few days, just looking back on that question, obviously, you know, how I answered it is like, you know, if you become a general doctor, you make an X amount of money. But if you become a brain surgeon, you make more money, right? Because you're solving a bigger problem. You went, you know, it's a lot more of a rare, scarce skill set to be a brain surgeon. So of course, money in this society, like money flows to limited resources. So if you have a skill set that's rare, you're going to make more money. But I was also thinking, just in terms of how you mentioned that guy was a plumber, in entrepreneurship to me also is like, even like you could have a basic skill set like plumbing, but if you nail down marketing and sales side of business correct, like you can still build a multiple like 7-figure business. So it's like entrepreneurship is, yes, of course, like having a, you know, bigger problem you solve, the more money you make. But also it's like understanding how business works. And I think too many people go into business that are like passion driven. They don't understand marketing. They don't understand advertising. They don't understand sales. And a lot of people,
Totally.
like, I feel, fall short in business. So I think that's what's so cool about our local lead gen business is that not only are you learning a skill set that solves a massive problem in the marketplace, which is like, not business owners not having enough customers, but we're also learning the marketing and the advertising and the sales side of business at the same exact time. So I think that's, looking back on, like, one of the big reasons why I believe like our group is like so successful.